Right. So, the other way. Either one night. Breathe time. And it gets exponentially bigger. Yeah, exactly.
Explain this meeting to order. It's all about information. Dear God, our Father in heaven, we are grateful to give you blessings upon our town, maybe this night. Thank you for the workers that's continue to do a good job with police officers and fire department and staff. Thank you, God, for the blessings, and we pray, God, watch over us as this storm comes in. So, Spirit, help us make decisions tonight that will be a blessing to the town in Jesus' name. Roll call.
Mayor Black,
Wait.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore,
Present.
Commissioner Connor, Commissioner Laws, Commissioner Lockwood, Commissioner Morton.
Okay, I looked at the agenda for tonight, and motion we got.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
All in favor? If none, we'll move on to the next item. Presentation of mountain response assistance.
All right, Mr. Mayor and Board, thank you so much. We're very lucky tonight to have, as you can see, an amazing gathering of police officers. I won't steal any of their thunder and tell about any of the stuff that you're going to get to hear about, but this is a special night that we're going to get to hear about. Some really incredible police work, so I'll pass it over to our folks here tonight to take it over.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mayor and Council, I won't take too much of your time either because I do nothing but support these folks. They're the ones that were up there actually doing the work. We got a short presentation to look through some pictures. As you know, a joint team between the City of Lowell Police Department, the City of Ranlo, Town of Ranlo Police Department, Town of Dallas, and the Ranlo Fire Department took a mission 10/7 through 10/12 for hurricane relief in the Lake Lure and Chimney Rock area of North Carolina. If you'll move to the next slide, we'll jump right on into some things that our agency representatives did while they were up there. They sifted through debris, provided security for the area. They got to participate in security for a council meeting, which was unique. That's conflict that was coming up there, and they had made such an impression in the day that they were all asked to come and help out because they could be trusted and needed to be there to provide that security. Some basic things like traffic direction, but they did some stuff as complicated as search with cadaver dogs with state teams. The drone was utilized from Ranlo. Captain Dowd used that and conducted some searches, and they assisted local law enforcement and citizens with just general cleanup in the area. Go to the next slide. So who participated? Yeah, the Chief Robert Walsh from Dallas, Captain Rob Dallas from Ranlo Police Department. Picture there. Also, Sergeant Amy Bowen and Officer Peyton Lowry, also were there. Jacob Springs responded up there and helped out, and Sergeant Tanner Springs is also there, providing assistance. Captain Ross Hoffman and Chief Kenny Lunsford helped out. Sergeant Kevin Jones and Chief Doug Moore, that joined me on the commissioner panel, was up there helping out as well. The UTVs were used for both departments, every single day. They were used to transport personnel and just in their general duties. So those were a huge asset to have up there. I believe I remember the commander in that area saying they didn't have anything like that at the time. So, they were able to utilize those daily. Excellent. Next slide. So we'll start in with the pictures, and at this time, I'll give what I know of them, but these folks know these pictures. They took these pictures. These are from their collection, so they can speak a lot more about them. And I'll invite them in at any time to interrupt me and talk about those pictures. But the first picture there on the right, see this, them going across one of the bridges and the debris that is packed up against the bridge there. And on the right, I believe that's one of the debris piles that y'all monitor sifting through. One thing that they were doing when I say sift through debris, there were large trucks that were grapple dozers that were putting the debris in the back of the trucks. And our folks' job was to search that debris as best they can from being picked up and dropped in the truck to make sure that there was nothing there that needed to be investigated. There was nothing that needed to be flagged and set aside for any kind of identification of anything that may be in that. So they do a lot of that. Next slide, please. On the left there is one of the Cadaver Dog search teams. And on the right is a picture behind the Chimney Run yeah. So that's, that's kind of what they would be doing right after that. That's probably a busy work area for them right there, vehicles going in and out of the area and such. Now it's dark. Y'all can probably see that there behind.
So that's like forward on the right. Tractor behind on the left, right behind the town hall, police department, 60 degree and Austin flooded the town hall. And all the three.
That dozer, I believe on the right, it's like a floating dozer.
Yeah, the one on the right, that's a floating song.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was pushing. About it. So here's a couple more pictures. I know your town's in a unique city hall situation, but this is what Lake Lure is dealing with. The cluster pictures on the right, of course, their door, and then our folks walk through their city hall and you can see the mud left over the floor. The picture on the left is the marina there on Lake Lure that many of us have seen many times traveling through the area. And that's what it looked like when they were there. I'm not sure what the state is now, but you see all the personal property was just destroyed with the flooding. More debris stacks. That's our on the right there. That's our folks that are pictured down on the beach.
All the debris on the left side, pictures in between the two bridges, is going from Lake Lure to Cinder Rock, the flower bridge, for all the flowers and stuff. All that debris, trees and everything is packed in two bridges for the wash up. And that's it, about 12 days and stuff like that, it washed in half.
Excavator operator in the county, so New York so long that the majority of that was actually houses. He said just on one side of the bridge, he estimated roughly 80 houses were packed in, but they were going to be like, I made it right here, one side of the bridge. So it was just a lot of destruction of the homes. And
whenever they said they started doing all the work there, they said the debris was piled 30 feet above the bridge. Whenever it came through. These are some more pictures we can took while we were doing the diver stuff. You see both pictures has cars, lots of them. What we do, smoke at the car, you know, TV or whatever. Then the National Guard would come in and dig out to make sure that.
This is some common lake lore, the yellow, I might recognize from seeing it that lake, this chimney rock there. That's a chimney rock there. Yeah.
Picture on the left of the house that we found right from the forward, is one of the right, we found doing powder, city rock in the back, using Park Road. That, right over that building, there's, only on three, was the new park. Picture on the left, you see what's left of the new park. Seeing the rock flag, you did the eventually flag up the building.
This was a rental house that was coming straight out of, Jimmy Rock going in the back. Most of the house actually was still intact, but whenever you went inside the house, you could see where all the water and debris had been washed out, and that picture on the left hand side. It's down in the hallway, where the wall. Gone, and they took out everything out on it.
Kind of the same thing, it's like a chimney rock, and that side, if you have some of these houses sit right on the roof. That's when we find all the houses, check it, and hopefully go back in. And on the right, it's, one of the shops, I think, the chimney rock.
So there on the left, there was a vehicle that was located by maybe Second Springs. While we were doing debris cleanup, we were able to locate the vehicle sitting out on the same bar out in the middle of locating in the river at that point. And, the excavator wound up taking it out and sitting in the middle picture after it got thrown out and several months. And right there on the right hand side is a line of the trucks. They were pulling out of all the debris.
That was the crocs were from, that's retail property from a shop that just lost everything.
So this is the bottom of the Pine Bridge, that they're like building that. I believe it's all the way down now. Where you can see all the stress, cracks and damage that was punctured, and so much pressure of the debris pushing into it, because when it, and actually top of the bridge, if you listen, we got a in the top of it, we have to extend, we were able to walk on it. You did not know that cameras like that was done up later, until they figured out, and then we were able to get on there and see that cameras already been done. It's good that it was, even person.
These are some of the beauty pictures that was taken while we was up there. Too far, with that to get the structure up there, downtown, for the people started doing.
We found that in the yard, it was found, you just picked the other out, and you got them, stuff.
Black fire and bully gate, some signs that they did. That part.
But the property owner we're dealing with, to have shops up there. A couple of those are interior pictures of businesses that were successful for how many years, and then in a matter of 12 hours, it's gone. Some views of the main street down there, and just, down there in the bottom right-hand corner, just salvaging anything they possibly could. I believe a lot of y'all heard from the ski shop owners that they had insurance on their property, not on their contents. So getting some of that stuff back is probably valuable. So that's the end of what we've got, but we got lots of comments from different folks while, they're participating in this, how proud they were, and that our guys did an excellent job. I know one thing that they did provide was just plain help when they didn't have anything up there. But the commander met, when we were still there, the commander met with them at the Divas parking lot and said, "I've been begging for help since this happened. You're the first help that we actually been able to get." And I know they put hours and hours and hours in
up there and riding a lot, but I think, Chief Law. And as far as the regular police department, we'd like to thank y'all, members for allowing us the opportunity to do it.
Just a few things I wanted to add. First, my name is Robert Lawson, I'm the Chief of Police in Dallas. I was part of this initiative team with all of them. But first, I wanted to thank, the law officers first. I didn't get to make their board meeting last time, because we had a board meeting the same night, so I done them a little video, but Chief Moore, Captain Hoffman, Sergeant Bowen, Assistant Chief Harrison, and Officer Lowry. I know he's not here tonight. But I just wanted to thank y'all for letting me be a part of that. Chief Lunsford, Captain Dowd, Sergeant Springs, Sergeant Jones, and Detective Springs, and the Fire Chief, Mr. Moore. Being a part of that group with those guys, when you bring multiple agencies together, everybody has their own style, how they do things, but I'm gonna tell y'all what, getting to go on that trip with them and represent Dallas and being a part of that. I grew up in Ranlo, so this is my hometown. I lived here till I was 12 years old. Played ball with Chief Moore, and Chief Lunsford growing up my whole life. And to get to be a part of that with that team and to share that experience with them meant the world to me. You should be proud of what you've got. You've got a good product here and a good team, and they represented your town well as board. And as a chief from the outside watching that, I'm telling you, you've got a good group of officers. And I know at times people don't give us the things that we deserve, but we're not in it for that. We're in it for the good of other people, and that's what we're there to do. And to get to share that experience with them, I'll remember that the rest of my life. That's one of those moments. You always have moments in your career that you'll never forget. I'll never forget that, because the brotherhoods you deal with people you don't really know, it means a lot. I would just like to end with a prayer, because I thought a lot about what we went through up there, and I'm gonna tell you, we all missed our families, we all missed our wives and girlfriends and husbands and boyfriends or whatever you have. We all missed each other, but to laugh and joke and cut up at the end of the night, we were all dead tired. I'm gonna tell you right now, the first day when I went with that dog, that was an eye-opening experience. I thought I was just gonna get to go down and walk around with it, and I was like, I ain't doing that again. Next day, I'm doing something different, but that wore me out. Because I'm not the smallest guy in the world, but I'm gonna tell you, it meant a lot to get to do that with them and get to see everybody there working together. You didn't have one person trying to lead, tell everybody what to do, everybody just knew what to do. And that's a product of what you got in your town. Each one of y'all's towns is, you got a good group of officers, you got a fire chief that jumped in there with us. And I'm just proud of them, and I wanted to tell y'all that personally, that working with them was an honor. And I would recruit them if I could, but I don't want to take them from y'all's town, because I know y'all need at least two. But I would love to have them with us as well, but getting to work with them all night, just that made my day. And I would just like to end with a prayer, if that's fine with y'all, from Matthew 5:9. It's blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be the children of God. And that's what we're called to do. We're called to do work, called to do God's work, and that's what we're here to do. It's not about the people bragging or people telling us the accolades or what. It's not about that. It's about helping people and being a part of that with them. Like I said, I'll remember this the rest of my life. So thank y'all for letting me be a part of it, and thank y'all for allowing them to do that.
Well,
I'll say I'm proud of, people up for these officers, people all, people. Got some comments back from the administration of Rutherford County that contacted me, said that crew from that mission did a fantastic job. They were very proud of them. So I thank y'all for making your seeing y'all together for everything.
Bob, appreciate the presentation. I hope.
I too went to Lake Lure Bat Cave, but I was working in a food truck. And I'm telling you, you think that's an easy thing, but it's not. It's not. I sat down 15 minutes the whole day I was there. We left home at 6:30, got home at 7:30 that night. So, I can commend you for your work, and, we fed the workers and we fed the residents too. So I believe in missions, and I believe you did a great job.
I could chime in on that one thing. I'm glad you said that, because it just brought something to my attention. Out of everything those people lost up there, not one person that I ever see up there fuss about anything. They were just thankful we were there to help them. You know, it wasn't about what they've lost, it was about what can we do to grow and move forward. They were thinking about the next thing to get this thing going, so. I'm telling you, it was humbling, it's a God moment, for sure. It brought me back down to earth and said, hey, we gotta we need to be helping these people. So I appreciate it. Working with this group, this is an honor, so y'all should be proud of me. Hey, I know y'all are proud of them, but like I said, I'm gonna throw my pitch out there one more time. I'll recruit if I could. I'm gonna do that. Thank y'all.
That was all. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the December 12th regular meeting minutes. Or the motion to adopt. Motion, got a second? All in favor? Next item would be the adoption of the December 12th proposed meeting minutes. Make a motion. Got a motion from Mr. Ronnie, and we got a second by
Second.
Ms. Effie. All in favor? So carried. New business, presentation of our monthly expense financial report.
So I can take this to Mr. Mayor and Board. So this is like you see every single month. This is just for you to see this information. Front page is our overall financial status, and all of our account information. You can see on the second page, our monthly year-to-date report for our general operating budget. Happy to answer any questions, nothing major, between last month and this month.
Questions from the commission? Moving right along. Audit presentation from Mr. Eddie Carey.
First of all, as always, I want to thank y'all as a board for the opportunity to serve as your auditor. Serve with pleasure with the board. So anytime y'all have any questions, concerns whatsoever about the audit itself, about finances in general, we want to be considered an asset to you. Because the better you understand the numbers, the better decisions y'all can make and feel comfortable. You did receive an unqualified or a clean opinion as far as the audit was concerned, which basically means that those financial statements that you have in front of you, based on my audit procedures, did fairly represent the books and records of the town of Ranlo for the year ending June 30th, 2024. Second thing that I always point out to my board, pages 3 through 12 in your audit report is what's called management discussion and analysis. The reason I point that out to you is because your audit report is a public document. Anybody can come and request a copy of it. So if you do have constituents that are concerned about the finances, have questions about the finances, that's a good place to point them toward, because it's a little more in layman's terms, but it tells where the town's been, where it was at this past year, and even a little bit about where you're going in the next year here as far as finances are concerned. With that having been said, I also gave you a little cheat sheet, I like to call it, which just compares 2024 to 2023 and what the differences are. You see the bottom line, 2023, we're about $1.5 million bottom line, and you see about 900,000 for this past year, and so $560,000 difference. And if you kind of glance down, the next number I've got circled down there, the year before, we had recognized all the ARPA funds that had come in. See that those two numbers are almost identical to each other, whatever. So the major difference between revenues last year and this year were those ARPA funds that we received. You see ad valorem taxes up, local option study, which tends to indicate the economy still doing well at this point in time. Also, as far as your expenditures, you see expenditures were up this year. You kind of glance down through there, get an idea. A lot of it just had to do with inflation, as you'll all know, this past year. But as you glance down through there, some of the larger ones, you also see that y'all invested in some capital outlay
some items that are gonna, you know, be good for you for more than just this past year, trucks, equipment, these kind of things or whatever. You see, you know, public works, police department has 157,000 of items put into service there. Public works, same thing, 128,000. So that, those two, you know, kind of account for a lot of what the increase were in those departments, putting in that capital outlay. So bottom line, by the end of the year, your unrestricted cash position in the general fund actually up $3.8 million, unassigned fund balance. It's basically that same $3.8 billion cash that you have available in the bank to do with whatever. So your unassigned fund balance is 114% of your current year's expenditures, which basically what that means, at the end of this past year is you could provide those same services that you did for 2024 in effect without having to bring any additional. So if something big did happen or whatever, you know that you're gonna be able to continue on. Average for a town your size in North Carolina is about 60%. So you see y'all well above what the state average as far as having available fund balance. Your ad valorem collection rate, over 99%, which is about 3% better than what the state average is. Any questions as far as general funds concerned?
I like the cheat sheet.
Yeah. The very bottom, as far as the water sewer, you see it was pretty much comparable to where you were. Revenues up slightly, expenditures up slightly compared to where they were the year before, which kind of squeezed the bottom line a little bit. The one issue that we have with water and sewer, same issue that we had last year, and the other thing that I'll mention, this, I think I've mentioned y'all the last couple of years, you know, state treasurer, the LGC part of the state treasurer's office is about 25% the staff that they had 10 years ago. So they can't, they used to go through these things with a fine tooth comb and all this kind of stuff and get what was called a white letter if something was wrong. Well, they can't do that anymore. They just don't have the staff to do it. So a couple of years ago, they started coming up, and basically when we do an audit, we submit an audit into them. There is a matrix that we fill out with all the numbers and whatever. And so from that matrix, they come up with what they call performance indicators. And that's just good reading for you. I mean, it tells you, you know, a lot of this just tells you, okay, we think a town your size should have X, whatever, and you can see how you compare to what they think, you know, is a strong or a good average or whatever. But now there is two items. If you look on page 4, well, these are actually the same two items that we had last year. One of them has to do with your cash, your unrestricted cash balance. You have over $1 million in water sewer at the end of the year, but some of that stormwater has to be used specifically for stormwater. Some of it has to be used specifically for future improvements or whatever, where y'all been charging.
Availability,
Yeah, availability, but yeah, where y'all charge the availability fee, and then basically you're restricted to use that to provide that same stuff back out or whatever. So anyway, and then the other problem that you run into is, with capital water capital project, there's still some funds that the state haven't remitted back to you at that point in time or whatever. Had they remitted all of them, in great shape as far as this was concerned. But anyway, that. And then the other one is that your useful life is below 50% on your fixed assets or whatever. I don't know exactly what they expect you to go out. You know, what you also need to understand is that most of those assets are on about a 50-year life. So as far as lines in the ground, things like that. So being below 50%, first of all, means you probably got 20 to 30 years still useful life left on, even if you just looked at it. So I'm not sure who came up with that. We came up with 50%. But anyway, they're just letting you know, okay, your system's starting to get a little older. You're going to have to, you know, there's going to be some maintenance issues and stuff coming forward. Anyway, but Charlie and I have came up with a response, basically the same response we had last year. Y'all signed that earlier, and so we'll submit that into LGC. That will take care of your responsibility. And it's basically just to make sure that you know if there's any issues that come up, because two things that happened with LGC about 4 years ago now. Up until 4 years ago, the auditor really wasn't even required to report to the board. We always have, but that was not a requirement. And so what was happening was a town would get in trouble with something, and maybe something been going on for several years or whatever, and all of a sudden, the board's going, "Oh, we didn't know nothing about this." So they said, okay, we're gonna make the auditors make sure, if they've got any issues, they come before the board. And so by doing that, and with whatever indicators concern they have, with y'all signing off of it, then nobody can say later on down the road, I didn't know anything, oh, we signed off on it or whatever. It's not the bank, or whatever, so, and, I think the treasurer's office is doing a really good job. It's right. They're probably the best asset that small towns have in North Carolina. It's the LGC Department of the Treasurer's Office. And it's so funny because you'll hear horror stories about towns sometime. I don't know how many of y'all followed all the stuff with Kings Mountain or whatever this past year. And that was, so they're broke. I mean, literally broke. Couldn't make payroll. And it was like, I mean, the current mayor at that time was like, we didn't know anything about it. The state treasurer come out and said, no, we've been working with your staff for the last 8 years because of these issues and stuff. And so they were aware of it. They knew they've been trying to put stuff into place. It didn't happen. So they do their best. They can't. Absent coming in, taking over, so they can't be taking over. Whatever. But absent of that, they are a good resource for y'all. Making sure that you stay physically safe. Any other questions? Anybody's got?
So in order to correct this number 8, water and sewer capital assets is what need to upgrade some by this station and something's that.
Well, I'm not gonna suggest you go out and spend any money just to get rid of a red flag. There.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I say, I think it's, I think the only thing it really does is, like I say, make you aware of the fact that, yeah, okay, your lift station is getting a little old. So either you need to be thinking about, okay, is there stuff we need to replace? Or the fact that, okay, we're just gonna have to repair more stuff in the future, and it's gonna cost us a little more, so when we set our rates and everything, we need to make sure that we're taking that into account. It's kind of like a tax client asking, well, so-and-so's accountant told them they need to buy a new truck, save taxes. Well, did they need a new truck? They didn't need a new truck. Won't save as much in taxes, but, so I'm kind of saying the same thing there. If you need a new lift station, hey, go to the lift station. But don't go out, like say, oh, treasurer's office is telling us our stuff's getting old. We need to go build some more.
Yeah.
Any other questions, anybody have? If not, I'll leave you with the same little anecdote that I always do. If you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can't go back to sleep, and you actually get this audit report out, trying to put yourself back to sleep before that. And you run across something you just don't understand, don't call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I am there normally by 8 o'clock at best. And I say that semi-facetiously in the fact that, like I say, the better y'all understand these numbers, and if you do run across something, that kind of thing, let me know, because it's usually a pretty reasonable explanation.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the, agenda is discussion of the 2025 events calendar.
Yes, sir, so I may take that one if that's okay, Mr. Mayor and board. So before you tonight, what I try to put together, now that I've been here at least for a year, is wanting to, in January, just nail down all of our events that we do throughout the year, get the dates way ahead of time so we can get all of our stuff starting to line up, we start contacting vendors and making sure everything's in place. So what I have before you for your consideration, we can either discuss it and like it, or we can talk a little bit more about it and then come back with an updated, but I just wanted to at least put something in front of you. Are all the events that we did last year while I was here, and then I actually included some new stuff too. So I know that we've been in talking to residents and talking to some of the staff and talking to some of you here on the board. I know there were some things that maybe had fallen off, whether it be last year or over the past couple of years, that we've been interested in bringing back. So like, for example, you may see some new things that we didn't have last year. For example, like the spring litter cleanup. I added in a spring community yard sale and a fall community yard sale. I know that's something that we've done a couple of years ago where out, I guess, in the grass field, we have the community yard sale, so I added some of those in. And then the big one is also the Milltown Nights. So I put those back on the schedule so that we can continue to have those. But I wanted to kind of just at least let you take a look at it. I'd be happy to take any direction from the board on what you think. The only thing that's not quite buttoned up, and I know we just had discussed it a little bit, is the Christmas parade. I have put in there for what I believe the best date is Saturday, December 13th, because that's earlier than the 20th this year, and we know we had some issues with schools already being out, and that kind of prevented us from getting some bands and stuff like that. But I think the 13th would be a good day. I would just be hesitant around thinking about making sure that we can get in touch with the float company. I tried to give them a ring before this meeting, but I couldn't catch him. So if we could just maybe tentatively say the 13th, I'll make sure that that's okay with the float company, make sure they're not booked out a whole year, and that date's not already taken for them. But other than that, I'm happy to either take any direction or entertain any sort of discussion about that.
To hear those floats instead of just going from there. Thank you.
Yeah, completely agree. So, to summarize what you said, and maybe one on a microphone if nobody heard, there were some floats this year that didn't have anybody on them. I know that we had a couple cases where I think it was cold weather that kept some folks away, but I think also there were some cases where I think somebody was intending on sponsoring, but not necessarily riding. So we're going to update our application too to very specifically say, want to sponsor and I want to ride, or I want to sponsor, I'm not going to ride, and then we have a process for making sure that people. So I think we.
I'm gonna skip your turn back to July, just do that, or could we back that celebration up to that Friday night and still do Milltown Night? Build it back up, because in the beginning, it's gonna start small, and then each month, word it around, and more people to come, but that's just a suggestion.
Are you considering changing the July 18th Milltown Nights or the July 26th July celebration? Just want to make sure I was understanding.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see that July 18th.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, so we'll just do both. They'll be kind of 2 weeks, I think, after each other, and then and actually the next week.
And can we start in May, on that Friday, instead of doing it the lodge, do Milltown Night? May,
The May 16th, no, or the senior bingo.
the senior bingo,
You saying do 2, 1 before, make the one that's scheduled on this for May 30th to be on May 16th prior to Milltown Nights. It's fine with me if that's what the board would like. So the new one will look Wednesday, April 16th, Easter egg hunt. Friday, May 16th will be the senior bingo, and then right into Milltown Nights. Does that sound good?
can we have Milltown Nights, the senior bingo at the park?
Yeah.
As Milltown Nights?
Yeah.
Okay, instead of at the lodge?
Perfect. Makes it easy.
Yeah, let's make it.
I'm perfect with that. If that's good with the board, I'll just change that to May 16th, we'll have both events. It will no longer be a Friday, May 30th senior bingo at the lodge. It'll be the same day as Milltown Nights, right there in the park.
And on that, Saturday spring cleanup, you think it'd be possible to get like a shredder truck here, like for community, bring stuff to shred?
Oh, like the shredding guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. See why not?
I mean, it
So
would
it's-
cut down on, not a lot, but it would cut down on.
So a spring litter cleanup and shredding event.
Yeah.
Really?
Basically,
Be a good plan up.
Facets of cleaning.
I don't know how much it costs to get them out here, but
I'm happy to do that.
do a study on all of it, check on some, only outrageous.
Yeah, and if it's something crazy, I can at least bring that information to the board and we can have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is everybody clear on the calendar of events? All things Christmas. All right, next item on the agenda is consideration of budget amendment 2425-1.
So I'll just talk about all three kind of at large real quick, and then we'll just go through each one specifically if that's okay. So all three of these, the 10, 11, and 12 that you have before you tonight are three different Powell bill fund balance, capital basically outlay requests. So this is money that is not in our general operating budget. This is from the Powell bill fund balance. If you want to go back to your sheet, you can see how much money we have. A lot of money in our Powell bill fund balance that is specifically supposed to be used for exactly what these, right? So for streets, for keeping the streets clean, all of that Powell bill money that we receive every year that we've been saving a lot of for a very long time. That's what this is for. So I'll start with the 10 as we are on our agenda. So this would be a Powell bill fund balance appropriation to purchase 2 arrow boards for the town. So when I say arrow boards, this would be something that police and public works could be using. So if you're ever driving down a highway and you see a blinking arrow and you know you gotta get over, that's essentially what it is, right? I'm boiling it down. But we don't have anything like that. So like, for example, and I was kind of mentioning this a little bit earlier, if we're out working on 7 in the middle of the night and there's a water leak and there's cars driving by, right now we have no means of, we have to borrow from the city arrow boards to start a lane diversion and that kind of, so the DOT has very specific specs around, like it has to be 150 feet from the stoppage, you have to have a taper lane, you have to have all this stuff, and an arrow board is huge for safety and huge for just kind of improving, just the wellness and safety, kind of like I was saying, for our guys and gals. So that would be for arrow boards.
It's for budget amendment 2425-11.
If you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, if it's okay, can we vote for each one and then I can just walk through each one?
I'll make a motion to purchase the awards of the Powell bill money.
I'll
Move the
second.
money.
Motion is second, all in favor? So carried. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, appreciate that. Yep, so along the same exact thing, so this is for a light tower. So same thing, Power bill fund balance, not out of the general operating budget, not out of local tax money. This is money that we get from state. This would be, so if we're working on Highway 7 in the middle of the night, there's a 10-inch water main, we gotta cut the water to the town. This has happened to us recently, and it's dark outside. There's a pull behind light tower. I'm sure you work with them all the time, that you just hook up to a truck. You crank the wheel, the light goes up and it illuminates the whole. Right now, basically, if it's in the middle of the night, we're using flashlights and truck headlights. So this would be a huge step also, just like those airports, in safety and efficiency and help out.
What's the price on those? There enough money to buy 2 of them?
If the board would see fit, that's the price for one.
It's,
It's also, it's a light tower / generator.
And it runs itself, yeah. So we could have no power, or you don't need to find a plug.
And do we need to?
Two would be useful, so you can, police department can use the other one for events, light up, use it to light up the walk back in the park art there. Use it for any situation, we can actually probably, either if you need a quick generator somewhere for the town, it's like, if you need enough power, okay, so that's the, it'd be, the town will get you around very lot. Stuff y'all spread.
said by this year, but I would recommend putting it in the budget for next year.
You wanna do a motion for one light tower?
I make a motion that we go with one.
Okay, item 13, consideration of budget amendment 4425-12.
Yeah, so this is the last one along that, kind of same theme here, a smaller one, but this is for chainsaws. So, this would be for storm use, so for example, something to be used tomorrow. We had plenty of storms this year, chainsaws are getting in bad shape, it's gonna be used to help clear the roads. So that is before it's not consideration.
How many are we buying?
This is for, how many?
What's the biggest barn?
220 inches and 216 inches.
Have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
I'll take a motion.
Perfect.
All in favor? Okay. All right, other business, item 14, town manager's report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a whole heck of a lot to report on tonight, but I do want to just talk about the snowstorm that's coming. We are now in a winter storm warning. I would just urge residents to continue to protect your pipes at home, stay off roadways if you can. Looks like now is that starting Friday about 1 p.m. is when the snow is going to start, and it looks like in talking with the county, it could change over to like a freezing rain or sleet. It's going to be very, very cold, so I would imagine that we're going to have some icy conditions. On that note, we are going to close and follow suit with Lowell, the county, and just put the safety of our staff and residents first. We are going to close town hall tomorrow at noon. And then from that point, our administrative staff will go home, but we will be running our emergency operations center tomorrow. Basically, as soon as we close town hall, our emergency services will, including myself, will go over to the fire station where we have our EOC, our emergency operations center, and we'll be there all through Friday, all through the night, and then into Saturday morning. So if you are a resident home, we will be working, we will be out, trying to keep our roads as clear as we can, trying to keep essential emergency services going. So we'll close town hall at noon, but we will continue to work in emergency services through the day. And I think that's basically all I have. So,
Okay, thank you.
oh, actually, I take that back. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, we got to pass it over to Chief Lunsford for the monthly police report.
This department responded to 517 events last month. We issued 24 citations and made 17 arrests. Some of the charges were 5 assaults, we run 8 vehicle accidents, breaking and entering, 13 civil disturbances, 20 domestics. We had 7 calls for canine service, we had 2 overdoses, and served 11 minutes. Our flock cameras last month had 160,805 cars passing. We also got 12 hits off of them being stolen cars, stolen tags, the car being one person. That's all I have, other than thanking y'all again for allowing us to go up to the mountains to get those people passed.
Right, next item will be mayor's report. We didn't have any meetings this past December other than the parade. That was fun, it's a good time, good fellowship for the town to come out. Didn't see as big crowds as we used to see. Again, people may have been on vacation, I don't know. The kids seem like they enjoyed it. Anything from the commissioners? Entertain a motion to dismiss.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Yeah, motion and second for adjournment. All in favor? Meeting is now adjourned. And we got some minutes here for you.
Yeah, if you want to.